And most importantly, of course, a very good friend of IIHM. He is none other than Mr. Alok Kaul, co-founder of Mars Consultz Hospitality. Welcome, sir, to IIHM Expert Session.
Thank you, Supriya. It's a pleasure to be on the stage, and yeah.
Right, sir. So, sir, today, being a stalwart for hospitality industry, I would like to know from you, your opinion, how learning institutes have become virtual institutes. What are the advantages and disadvantages? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our today's topic for the discussion. So, over to you, Mr. Kaur.
So I think I would like to start with when you look at things, there is always a bright side and a negative side. It's what you look at first. Glass is half empty or half full. But I would like to thank 2020 because it kind of accelerated the growth or a progress 10 times faster, at least I would say, for our country in India. So the IT is going to kind of boom or explode in terms of online and virtual offices and virtual reality would come into picture. I think we would have taken a longer time to adjust, but now I think it is fast forwarding. We have become better on how to organize online sessions, online classes. Still, some work needs to be done, and it is happening. I think a lot of everybody is trying to adjust and trying to accept that new way of learning. Before it was interactive, like how can you bring the virtual world and kind of blend it into the learning from A to Z. That's a plus point. Plus point is like you can train anytime, anywhere. You don't have to be restricted. So there are no restrictions, when it comes to time. And there's no obviously there's no restriction of the content, and it's the convenience. It's not a building; it's just a laptop. Before, I think all the institutions had to think of a place, a desk, a classroom, and then various other things. So it was not easy to establish training sessions or establish training or even the schools or institutions. It was challenging, but I think now the accessibility of information and training, availability of training has become much easier. That's a great part about online sessions. Now, when it comes to negative, I would not say negative. I think it's evolution. This is what I would call it. When something gets evolved, like when for the first time the mobile phones came into picture, they were heavy handheld devices, and people like the fact that the handset is mobile, but they were not happy with the fact that it's so heavy. But still, everybody enjoyed using it. It was more of a toy than actually a communicating device. And look at today. Today, mobile phone has become a part of our uniform. So there's nothing we can do about without mobile phone. I think the same thing is going to apply to the online sessions, online training, and I think the people who will set the trends, and when I would quote IIHM, I think you are way ahead in doing these sessions and always moving forward with the trend. I really appreciate and like that energy and enthusiasm from your team, and that actually accelerates and a lot of improvements happen and the changes happen. I think you are way ahead in many other colleges and schools. So it's kudos to you. I mean, things that still need to be improved is how how you how can we grab the attention of the person when it comes to a class? Like uh, to get the focus. I think a lot of emphasis would happen on the you know accessibility of the body language on the screen and using the body language on the screen. I'm sure the software will detect, oh, the eye movement is not correct, so this guy is not paying attention. Things like these would evolve. So that doesn't happen right now. So you will have only interested people focused, giving attention and giving 100%. You will have uh, to manage those unfocused people, who want to laze around, who don't want to focus. That is a challenge at this stage, which is easier in a classroom. The interaction is evolving. The interaction, probably when it's face to face, it's always better. It's always good. But how to have an interaction? I'm actually waiting for the holograms to come out so that the interactions can happen virtually. So that will solve the problem. And I'm trying to imagine, all the chef students working with the chef virtually, cutting the vegetables in their house, but it looks as if we all are together. So it's only an imagination at this stage, but I'm sure the imagination would move to reality soon. But that's a challenge at this stage. But in terms of availability of information, reach, that is brilliant. Accessibility is brilliant. The other part is, online people are not. People also have to the mindset of people. I think all the students, all the children are driven by a lot of forces, including their parents, including the people who direct them. They're of old school of thought, and I'll talk about myself. I'm also getting adjusted to this way of working. It's not easy, because when suddenly you were moving around and doing things by meeting people, and suddenly you have to talk to a computer to get things done. So it's a huge learning. So it's an effort. I think the institutions like yourself are bringing it forward, and I'm glad that I'm also a part of it, and others are also part of it. I think we need to. My more interest is if we can bring ourselves and our country much forward with that, and I see that happening. I think there's a huge scope in terms of learning. Yeah, that's a big plus.
Right, right. I think. So I was, wondering that, so when this pandemic happened, and overnight the IIHM came to the virtual platform, and not only IIHM, the whole education sector in that matter. Um, so what do you think? What is your opinion? Is virtual education will continue as a future trend in education sector post pandemic also?
I think it will not stop. It will continue. There'll be I think it'll merge the virtual plus the physical presence will merge. So I'm trying to envision like 3 days of physical classes and 3 days of virtual classes. That will happen because the self dependence would increase of students, which means somebody who wants to bring himself up has to manage himself more than being managed, which has been the culture in the past. For example, if you don't have a stick behind you, things don't move. So this will pave way for that. So it'll be a blend of the both. I would even see the virtual classes happening within the classes. Like I've come across class boards when I can write, and on one side you can also write on the other side, but we might be miles apart. So, so, so I see an evolution. I definitely see not the same thing coming back. What was before, uh, probably an evolved way of learning would come back.
Right. So, sir, I have one more follow-up questions here. So there is a lot of talk about the quality of education, right? So when it was a physical class, the kind of quality that we can expect from the whole education system. What is your opinion? Is the quality will be the same or better, or it's going to decrease?
I think the quality, if you compare at this stage, the quality of information will be better, but the delivery of that information will be a challenge initially. See, the training and learning, there are two ways. One is when you impart, the second part is absorption. I think we have a challenge at this stage in terms of absorption, and and how does the information cultivate behavior? That's where the challenge is. It was easier when it was one-to-one interaction. Now with the online, this will be a slight challenge, but I would see this is evolving. I can see from my schools, from my kids, everything is evolving right now, and I see this would also evolve, and the quality of absorption would become better because it's more to us, it's more to everybody, all the stakeholders in this section. Yeah.
Right. So you're actually talking about the hologram and all. So my next question comes from there. So does the virtual education is indicating towards the augmented reality and the machine learning? What is your opinion about the technology part? Or is there any platform that you really like or you really wanted to use? Or
If I
I may repeat, ask you to repeat this.
okay. So you are already talking about the hologram, right? So my next question comes with technology. So is there any platform that you suggest or you are already using, or is this virtual learning is getting into augmented reality or the machine learning?
so yeah, no, everything is changing, and I see artificial intelligence playing a bigger role. We are actually dealing with a robotics company that's going to introduce robotics and augmented reality in the hospitality industry. So there are already discussions on the stage. So there's a lot of software available for artificial intelligence, but the hardware is not available. So this would I think it's a learning, it's an experimentation stage. I would see 1 year for this. Give it 2021 for the year. You see changes in 2022 in terms of augmented reality as well as. It's an evolution that is happening, but it'll be faster than before. If the pandemic would not have happened, this would not have happened. Yeah.
Very true. Very true. So the last question for today's discussion. So we are conducting Young Chef Olympiad, which is world's biggest culinary competition. I'm sure you have already heard about it, and we are doing it since last 6 years. This is the seventh year we are conducting YCO, but for the very first time, the entire YCO is happening in a virtual platform. Last few years, I mean, last 6 years, we are hosting more than 60 countries physically in our country. But this time, we are getting around 50 countries, but everybody participating virtually, right? So I really wanted to ask you what you feel about the whole process of YCO, how IIHM taking or spreading hospitality across the globe.
I think as I said, you guys are the trendsetters. I mean, if you are the leaders, you are the drivers of the change. If you would not start this, people would not follow. I think it's a brilliant thing what you're doing. I know being the first, it will not be easy. And we are trying to, all the stakeholders, right from the chefs to teachers to people like ourselves in the industry, would try to adjust and try to understand how to interpret and how to maximize from this Olympiad. But the thing is, as I said, it'll only evolve. It'll only evolve. As I said, you will be doing soon the chef's Olympiad with holograms. So but this part is so important. This foundation is so important because you are the change creator, and our industry needs this. And one of my dreams is, I wish the hospitality also could become like work from home, and we can manage things work from home, which is not impossible, but it's at this stage, how the what the industry has gone through. I think there's a lot of contribution all of us need to do towards it, and you are doing it. IHM is kind of putting that at the forefront. I think the statement which you are making, that we will not stop. Whatever happens, we will still do things. We will make things happen. If not by X, by Y, by Z, but we will make a difference. I like that attitude. I would like to thank Dr. I'll tell you, Dr. Bose is like an inspiration when I see these things happening. And I've been associated with you guys right from Ernest, yourself, that you put aggressiveness and drive and determination to the success of the industry that impacts rest of us. That's an inspiration for rest of us. So kudos to you, and I would really thank and wish all the best. And it'll be successful. It'll be a change. I think it's high time we do that.
Right, right. As you said, I really wanted to quote that we will never gonna stop whatever it is. So yes, that's why IHMC we dare to do. So thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for taking our time and talking to us. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. We are signing off from IIHM Studio. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Supriya. Bye bye.